Hello, guys. Welcome to the episode 7 of the Space Back podcast. And today we have with us Udipt Bakshi, our friend. He is the founder of Newmxel. So, Udipt, please introduce.
So you all know my name, and I am the founder of Newmxel. So initially, I used to own a marketing agency, but then I eventually ended that and started this venture because there was a shift in my mindset according to what I wanted to do. So when I initially started, it was the marketing agency which a few of my friends were doing, and I did uh, that with a partner eventually, initially, and after that, I was thinking, am I enjoying this field? We got a few clients as well. We were working with 2 to 3 clients, and we were in the space of hair transplant, more like. And after that. I sat down with my partner and we thought that okay, is do we need to continue this? We were earning around one to two, between 1 to 2 lakhs, and after that, because my family is from the entertainment industry, I thought to myself, uh, is it giving me the joy? They say, is it a kick that are you getting any kick from the business that you're doing? And I was just thinking that no, I'm not getting that kick from this yet. So I told my partner that I think I will back out from this venture, and if you want to continue with this business, it was called Bloom when we had started. So I told him, if you want to continue, you can do that, but I don't feel like I'm enjoying this, and I'll shift to something which makes me enjoy that bit of a thing, because I feel that if you not really enjoy what you're doing, then there's no point of continuing it, because I cannot love the business that I'm doing. You should not, but if you cannot enjoy it, then there's no point doing it. So that was my go-through thing, and eventually, uh, then I shifted to the dubbing business, and right now I trade in the markets.
So you are saying that because of your family background of entertainment, that's made that was the thing which made you join the dubbing industry.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So I'll explain how it went through. So
yeah.
I remember, so my mom's an actress, and she was also part of the voiceover industry before she became an actress. And I remember that she had done a show or something, and then she was going to do the voiceover for it, because right now anything that comes in the movies, they put voiceover on it so that the audience in the movies can enjoy, or shows can enjoy it properly. So she was just doing that, and at that point I was still doing the marketing agency. So I went with her to a studio. I was coming from somewhere from outside Mumbai, and I was just there at that time in the studio. And she told me, sit inside the studio, see how you feel. And while she was doing it, I thought that I was just noticing everything in the studio, how it's going, and there was some Pokemon episode going on at that time, and I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Why don't people from YouTube do this? Because this was only in movies, this was only in TV shows, which used to come in, Bollywood, Hollywood,
So, dubbing in regional languages.
dubbing in regional languages, exactly. So I'm like, why isn't anyone doing this on YouTube? At that point, I thought no one was doing this on YouTube, but that was my thought process. And after that, I went back home and I started doing more research on this, because I was doing the current business, but I did not want to take a pivot, like, very quickly and suddenly. So I did my research on it, and eventually I started finding out more about this in the YouTube space. So I just found out that only people who do the kids channels, like Diana and Noma, and there's some kids Diana show, all these
I think
kids
Mr.
channels.
Beast was also doing.
Yes, Mr. Beast initially did not do it for a couple of years, and then after noticing that this is also something that he can pivot to, and this will grow his empire, then he shifted to voicing his languages in other voicing his videos in other languages, which took him to another level. So I'm like, okay, if biggest of YouTubers can also do this, that time, like he said, Mr. Beast was also doing it, that I found out, and a few other big ones. So I'm like, why not small YouTubers? Why not intermediate
That's a
YouTubers?
good pitch that Mr. Beast कर रहा है तो you also
एग्जैक्टली,
do it.
व्हाई नॉट? अगर वो करे तो हम छोटे यूट्यूबर्स को क्यों नहीं दे सकते हैं, राइट? तो उसके बाद देन आई शिफ्टेड एंड आई एम लाइक, ओके, लेट्स फोकस ऑन दिस. सो आफ्टर दैट आई जस्ट डिसाइडेड this is something that I want to do. It also lies in my mom's industry, which I actually feel that if I do something in this, not only will I be doing it for myself, but people in my family will also feel proud.
When did you start this business?
So this business I started last year around this time itself, and before this I was doing the marketing agency.
Yeah, when did you start the agency?
So the agency was around December of 2023.
23.
December of 2023, and me and my partner had he was from my college, so we had started it, and we started going to hair transplant clinics and all in Bombay, figuring out, people do that Google Maps and everything. So initially when we started, we thought, okay, we get clients in that manner. So we spoke to a few people. Eventually we got one client, and we spoke to him. We thought that, okay, it's easy. We just went, spoke, and now he thinks that, we'll do the work for him. And then we started doing the work for him, and 1 month went by, and then we asked for the payment. And when we asked for the payment, he's like, किस बात का payment? And I'm like, हमने आपके videos record किए, हमने आपके लिए post किया, and he's like, ऐसे कैसे? And then he had initially signed the contract with us also, but he didn't end up giving us the payment. And we also thought that, okay, I mean, even if we did the work for him, maybe there were some mistakes that we made, trying to make things clear between him and us. So we're like, okay, it's no problem. We just dropped that client, and then we started focusing on other methods to get more clients. So that went on. Then we shifted to email marketing, and we shifted to cold calling. So we got a cold calling application which helped us, make calls in the US and Canada and all the Saudi countries, and then we started calling. So initially it went well. We, 2-3 people wanted to do a meeting with us, and once we did the meeting, we got them in the meeting. We explained them what we'll do for them. The hair transplant agencies, we didn't shift because we thought hair transplant, if you're doing, we'll do it properly. I don't want to focus on too many things. Right, so we did that, and eventually two clients together closed with us back to back, and we were continuing the work with them for 2 months, and we were also trying to figure out more ways of getting clients. So that's where email marketing and all came in. And then eventually, like I said, so I went with my mom, and that pivot happened. So I'm like, if you want to continue, you can, because I was not really enjoying doing that business with my
That's
partner.
still like active, or yes?
That is still active, so he is still doing that business, and it's going pretty well for him as well. So that ended with him, and then eventually I shifted on to this.
So you offered them performance marketing, or
We offered them social media management as well as running ads for them.
yeah,
Now these were hair transplant clinics, right?
Yeah.
So we just had to run ads for them in different places in Bombay itself, when we were doing it for the first client. But
Yeah.
afterwards, when we shifted for foreign clients, then we found a marketer from there itself, and we signed a contract with him, and then he was basically helping us market that clinic's that clinic's ads and all in his USA and the places nearby that place, city. So if they were in Michigan, for example, or any state in the US, so we had to run ads only in that
Yeah.
particular city and everything around that place, because you cannot randomly get clients.
Yeah.
You have to get in near that surrounding area. So we ran that with a partnership with someone from that country itself, and it went on going on till like 2-3 months. And then we eventually asked for references from there, because we were doing a good job at it. They were getting good clients. We were also leaving Google reviews and all for them. Just everything that they say about in all the videos nowadays, in general. So we used to get the references, then we used to call the references. Someone used to pick up, someone never picked up. But it's not like we called 10 people and we got the client. It used to be we had to call 500 to 600 people, and then initially 3 to 4 clients closed with us. But we had a script, and we followed the script. Sometimes we had to adapt to any changes that they said. Eventually it took off 3 to 4 months, I would say.
What would be the hardest part for this marketing agency?
This marketing agency, the hardest part was definitely firstly figuring out how to do things.
Yeah.
So initially when we started, we had no idea what we were doing. So we started with going to physical clinics
Yeah.
and in Bombay, and then we had that experience. Plus it was not easy going to physical clinics because you're dedicating a lot of time to it, right? And time is the game over here. If you put 5 hours in just going and coming in Bombay with the entire traffic going on, so you're just wasting a lot of time. and we thought, okay, we'll have a business which will be digital, but in fact we were just doing physical work. And we thought, okay, we'll learn marketing by ourselves, we'll run the ads for them. But that's not how normally things operate. You need to have a team around you which helps you do all the other things as well, because in like any like what we later realized is that we need to focus on growing the business instead of actually doing the operations of the
Yeah.
business. So that basically we realized a lot. It took a lot of time for us to realize, and eventually when we did that, we were in a position that we started calling abroad and all. So we didn't have to, at that point we realized, okay, we are not anyways going to go abroad and try to speak to them. It's going to be online meetings, but everything was learned from YouTube. We were just trying to make quick money initially.
So how big was your team in Bloom?
Bloom, so I had my partner and we had just one marketer in our team, who used to also manage our social media. So initially we decided that we'll keep one marketer for one client, and then when we got two clients, we got another marketer for that. So we were trying to individually focus each marketer on each client. So that's how we bifurcated everything, because if we gave one marketer two clients, it would mean that, okay, he's not only handling one but two, and there are a lot of chances that he mixes up both of the work. And that way the main thing is to retain the client. Once you can start the work with him, you can give him some results, but why would he want to retain with you if you're not actually continuously providing the work to him? So then once we shifted to 3 to 4 clients, we had 3 to 4 individual marketers for each one of them. And after that I just split, so he continued with the same process, I would say.
So then, when you shifted to the Newmxel, how did you get a first client for that, and then how was that process started?
So when I shifted to Newmxel, at that point I had learned a lot about email marketing, because when I was in the marketing agency, he was focusing on making the calls. He was more of the sales guy, I would say, and I was focusing more on new ways of getting more clients. So I used to run the email marketing systems at that point. So when I shifted to this business, first thing I realized is that, okay, I am aiming at YouTubers, because my game is that I want to offer this service to YouTubers because they have not experienced this. And the first thing was researching about the YouTube game, how things operate, how do they earn money. So once I did that, once I got to know exactly what RPMs are and how exactly they earn money from people running ads on the videos, not only ads which YouTube offers, but also any partnerships which they do with brands. So how much do they earn, how to actually get them those brands. Like for example, in India it's a very different game. India has a huge population, which means that India requires like even if India does not have high RPMs. For example, if you earn $1 over here, you're earning $10 over there for the same amount of views and concept. And that mostly happens because of the businesses in India and the people in India, how much volume they're watching it in. Over there, the businesses are much more better than the ones in India. Not just the big businesses, but also the small businesses. Plus, it's because of the dollar rate according to the INR. And the minimum over there which you would earn is $2 to $3, and the maximum which you would earn over here was $1. And for a big YouTuber like Karen Minati or anyone who's doing amazing, so that's more than enough for them, because 45 million views and 45 million divided by 1,000 into one, that's more than enough for them. And then the brand sponsorships and everything. Over there, people did not focus on the brand sponsorships from outside. They were focusing on YouTube ad revenue, and they were also focusing on just getting 15 to 20,000 views in general, because that would be enough for them to earn good $3,000 to $4,000, because they were getting $10 to $15 RPMs. And it all happened according to the niche they were in. For example, if you're in the finance niche, right? So once you're in the finance niche, the businesses in the finance niche in US, for example, know that they are high end businesses, which means they can spend more money to run their ads.
Because they know your audience is like
Audience
better
is-
audience.
Exactly, because
watching
it
finance
attains to their
channels.
businesses.
Yeah.
So they used to, when it's like a bid and ask. So the YouTube used to put a ask price, and then they used to bid it. That's how the system works. And then they used to get paid. So it's like a 50-50 revenue split between the YouTubers as well as like YouTube itself. So that's the research that I did, and then I started scraping these people's mails. So I took a niche. Initially, I had chosen gaming. So this gaming was related to Roblox, and in Roblox, I was wondering, okay, if this is cartoon, and cartoon in general has a lot of dubbing in it. Like if you see any channels on India or any like YouTube, so they are spread in different languages itself. So why not Roblox people? Right, any Roblox YouTuber, and Roblox is huge on YouTube. They get millions of views, and they plus the RPM is also about $3 to $4. So I then started scraping their emails. Now there were scraping tools on Chrome itself. Now I don't really remember their names, but I used to pay a subscription of $10. But I used to easily scrape out thousands of mails in them.
The Chrome browser add-ons, right?
Yes, Chrome
Yeah.
browser add-ons. There was a specific one which the name I cannot recall, but that used to help me a lot. So and also yeah, okay, that was the one I used to keep on using continuously. So at one point in 1 month, I myself did the work, and I scraped out around 5,000 emails, which I thought was more than enough because I had spoken to a few friends who were in the same industry but in video editing. So we were looking at the same target audience because YouTube. And once I started getting the mails out, I got to know that okay, now I have to start sending the mails. Now that's also another procedure itself, because email marketing just does not work according to just okay sending an email like in a college. You have to make sure that there's a proper there's a proper structure to it, and exactly, and you have to keep on trying different things, different titles. You have to try different opening lines, and then you have to give a there needs to be like personalization lines. And eventually I started off with very long emails, and I was like, why my reply rate's not nice? And the main thing is tracking. If you're not tracking, you don't know what you're doing, because the output, if you don't know, then what's the point of continuously doing the procedure? So I kept on tracking. I was using a website. Again, the name I cannot recall because I've shifted to another source of income right now. But there used to be a website which used to help me send those mails. So that also used to give me the analysis of my performance. So once I got to know that okay, this structure, this email writing structure is not working, so I shifted to another email writing which was very small and which was very specific to that person and that group itself. So once I shifted to that structure, which was just, hey, I just saw your YouTube channel.
Not very formal, like
Not
bit
very
casual
formal.
and short.
Casual and short. If they want to reply, they can reply. If they're not, then we follow up with them in in a week. We used to do 2 follow-ups, and the system used to do it itself. We just used to write the mails, and they just kept on sending every week. So that happened, and then we started getting replies. Initially, out of the 1,000 mails, per 1,000 mail, we were getting like 10 replies and 10 positive replies, and out of those 2 to 3 meetings used to happen. So the first month itself, we closed the client, and after we closed the client, we discussed the terms with them. We discussed what we would do with them, and at that time, I did not have any team, because in the first business, I realized, oh, I made the team, but I'm not getting any clients. So why should I focus on getting the team first and then providing to the client? So this time, I was just focusing on sales alone. So once I got the client, then I started making the team. Now they wanted their language to be converted from English to Spanish. Now, Spanish, of course, is not an Indian language. If it was from India, for example, Hindi, then it would be much easier for me, because my background is, it offers me that not only Hindi, but also like because my mom's in the industry, so I can take her help in some ways to get some references in the industry itself. But it was Spanish. So I went on particular websites. There was, of course, Upworks, there was Fiverr, and there was also Casting Call Club, which was especially for dubbing. So once I went onto that, I realized the rates now which they were charging. So for example, if in India a dubbing artist charges 300 rupees for per hour, over there they are charging, for example, $30. That's what I thought initially. But then when I went a lot more deeper into it, I got to know that no, there are people who do it for $3 to $4 or even lesser. So it's just about the information which I didn't have initially. So initially, when I was doing any of the businesses, one thing that I realized is that if I don't have a lot of information, I am portraying the business in a wrong way. So so we worked with that client. I offered very high rates to him because I thought the business was very high ended and that it will cost a lot to them as well, because it was costing a lot to me. And my profit margins I was trying to keep between 40 to 60% because I was expecting a lot of profit from that. So initially we went on with the client, but from the next month he said that okay, the prices seem a little too high for me. So I told him, okay, let me figure out how I can, reduce the prices for you. And then when I did a lot of research onto it, I found it 10 times cheaper in a way, and then I could offer the same, much cheaper to the client as well. So he would not only continue with us, he would do much more videos with us, much more short form content with us, and we could continue with more and more clients. So that's how I started the business.
So what was your setup at Newmxel? You had a studio?
No, there was no studio initially. So when we were doing, when I got my second client, which was an Indian. Now the Indian had a kids channel. Now they are pretty big on YouTube at this point. They are called. They are similar to Diana and Roma. Just the names have been fluctuating in my mind. So when they came, they were creating content in Hindi itself, but the children in that were not speaking. We were just supposed to dub over them. So I got this through a reference, one of my friends, and he's like, "Bro, I'm editing videos for them, but they required someone who would do the dubbing for them. Would you mind doing it?" I'm like, "No, not at all. Let me just know the specifics and everything, and then we can discuss it all together." So I sat with them, I discussed it with them, and we were like, okay, let's start the work. So for that, I hired a studio in India, in Bombay itself, and we started working with them. So every month we used to get 40 reels. There was no videos. They wanted to first focus on short form content, and once they focused on short form, gained a lot of subscribers, then they would shift to long form content. This way, they would also do a test and try on what's working, what's not working in the kids industry. And so this procedure happened. Eventually, we worked with them for 4 to 5 months, and at that point, I started to get more and more clients from YouTube itself, and these were from the finance industries, and this was from as well as the gaming industry, Roblox and finance itself, because Roblox and finance have high RPMs. So if they have high RPMs, I can offer them something which makes them earn 2 to 3x than what they're investing with me. If I looked at a low RPM niche, for example, not sure exactly, for example, reaction videos or anything as such, so that would not offer them results. Like they would be investing more with me, but they would not be earning. So I was getting a lot more clients, but over here I was getting paid less. So I had to drop these clients, this client itself, and then I started working with a lot of YouTubers in those niches. So we picked up the work with them, and at one point we had 5 to 6 recurring clients till like 5 to 6 months. So we were continuously working with them for like 6 to 7 months.
Which was your biggest YouTuber client? Yeah.
So we were doing Mr. Beast shorts. So the short form content initially, when Mr. Beast had started, he has multiple teams. So it's not, for example, he has short form content, he has long form content.
Yeah.
In the short form content, we were handling one portion of the Hindi content. For other content, he had a lot bigger businesses in the same industry, which were doing Spanish, French, Portuguese, in multiple languages. So I just had sent a mail randomly, thinking that fine, let's see what happens. We are growing. Maybe he'll just respond to us, their team. So I send them I already recorded one sample for them, and I'm like, let's see. I'll just send it. If I get any response, then let's see what happens. So I sent it to the team or just the mail, and we got like a response in the next week saying that I like the work. We have divided. We have multiple teams doing the Hindi portion for us, and those are one of the biggest dubbing businesses in India, like Audio Magic, and there are like a lot of bigger names in the industry. But we were comparatively very small to them. But they just liked our work, so they gave us a chunk of, let's say, 50 reels every month, and we used to dub it for them in Hindi. And we did not use the studio, because at this point we had home studios. Any artists which we used to work with, they had their home studios, and they used to record it in that, and then we used to compile it together, and then we used to send it to their team, and then we used to post it. So Mr. Beast, I would say, was one of the biggest clients, because he used to also pay us more, but at the same time he was not earning from this Hindi channel more because of the low RPMs in India. So I would say Mr. Beast was one of them. Then we had there was this one more client. He's pretty big. He was from the football space itself. Uh, so he was another client which wanted to do. He used to do reaction videos and all. Just that the names aren't coming to me right now. So we worked with him as well. So we had around $2,000 to $3,000 budget with him, and profit margins were also 50 to 60% in that. And he was converting just in Spanish with us, because Spanish and Portuguese again have higher RPMs compared to any other. So it comes as if English, then comes Spanish and Portuguese, because there are a lot of people in populations, Spain as well, Spain,
South
Catalan,
America also.
South America itself, Argentina. It's divided into multiple countries. So we worked with these two clients, which were our main source of income at that point. And we were working with this kids channel in India and a few more here and there, finance YouTubers, which was going on.
So like, what were like some challenges that you faced while running Newmxel?
Now the main challenge was handling a lot of departments in this itself, because this was not like the marketing agency that we just hired a contractor and we used to pay him a percentage. Over here, because we had multiple teams, Spanish team, French team, Portuguese team, Hindi team, multiple languages. So the main thing is I do not know so many languages. So in each language I needed someone who understood the language, and both English and that particular language, and who would convey what's going on in that department with me. Because so we had assistants in each language category, and then from there we have artists from each language category. So it was divided into artists, freelancers in a way, but we had a team of freelancers from each language. And over here we had people who used to be managers of that particular language. So it was like 4 to 5 core team in terms of the language, and then there used to be freelancers from that particular language category. And at the same time we had one more team which was growing the business, focusing on email marketing, focusing on the sales part. So over here the team was much bigger than I was imagining, and because we were growing also in a very nice way, so it was very difficult to actually handle so many people at the same time. And understanding what's going on, because knowing that, okay, are you not messing up the operations with that particular client, how's that going, making sure that you're getting the results for them. In a lot of months, let's say the first month the results were down, so we had to make sure that for that client we get the results up in the next month. Because the process goes as, for example, we if right now, if you don't have, let's say if you have a channel, now there's a multi audio track feature which YouTube had launched. Now not a lot of YouTubers had that, only the biggest of YouTubers like Mr. Beast had that. But before that as well, Mr. Beast had different channels of the different languages. So initially, any client which we worked with, we had to make a different channel for them.
So like after all of this, like when did AI come into picture, and then what happened next?
So YouTube had already given the AI auto dubbing feature to a few YouTubers, and that was given to only like 100 YouTubers and the biggest of them. So after that, YouTube basically came out with the news that they're launching it to hundreds and thousands of more YouTubers out there. And they partnered up with a business called A Loud. So it felt like you were naturally dubbing it instead of having any artist dub for you. So that was not only for YouTube, but that was also for all the other TV shows, movies. And it was not just me that was a little bit frightened at that point. It was also all the other biggest of competitors of mine, which were also losing a lot of their clients because of this. So I decided that I can continue this with the current clients I have, but at the same time, I will not then focus on growing the business or continuing it beyond the current clients that I already have. So we kept on continuing the work with those clients for 2 to 3 months, and I think last to last month was our last client which we ended the contract with. And I told myself I don't want to waste time, because eventually, yes, AI is going to come and take over at least this part, because I was seeing the results and it was pretty amazing. It was better than anything that we were doing manually. So I'm like, let's focus on something new and something which I have always liked, and which was trading. So yes, this is how the shift happened for me. Yeah.
So like all the big players are also affected in the industry.
Yes, one of the biggest of players were losing clients. So Netflix, Prime Video, they used to give to the biggest competitors in this industry in India, which was for Hindi, and the names like Audio Magic, Subhash Studios. These are like one of the biggest names in the industry space in India, and they were frightened about losing. They were offloading their employees, and yes, they are still receiving work at this time, because AI has not completely also taken over the quality which manual dubbing offers, because of course there are a lot of people who are very talented in what they do. Any shows, any anime, all of these are still dubbed, but anything which is related to YouTube, which was my genre, that was completely taken over by the YouTube and YouTube auto dubbing itself. And so even if we approached people right now, their response would be that there's already the feature out, so why should I use you? And convincing them, trying to get it more out. We just thought that it's not the best thing for us to continue with.
Decided not to waste time on that.
Yes, because we are in a fast moving world, so we have to switch to different things.
So the rates which YouTube was offering, what that service was free.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, so it's completely free for everyone right now. So if you're eligible for that auto dubbing feature, which right now they're launching to more and more YouTube, even the smallest of YouTubers can, with a click of one button, access it. So at that point, why would anyone want to waste money over something that's being offered to them for free?
When you told me about it, I checked it out. But like it felt like someone has manually dubbed
Someone
it.
has manually dubbed
It
it,
was very
exactly.
accurate.
So it felt like, okay, this is somewhere like I don't want to waste my time over. And whenever I switch between things, for example, losing my first partner because I wanted to switch to a new business, or like switching to from this business to something else, I just knew that okay, I have to take a concrete step. But once I've decided it, I'll make sure that I'll start doing it.
So if, let's say, how would you have prepared better for this AI situation? Would you have like done something different, or would you have done what you did?
Well, honestly, I think I would have done what I did because it came to me very suddenly. In a way, I knew that it was going to come because there were already talks going on. When I initially as well entered this business, I was expecting that AI, in the coming future, 2 to 3 years, will come and take over this space. But I was not sure that it will take over the space so quickly in the YouTube industry. And it started with YouTube itself, because YouTube runs with YouTubers who are, modern, who are very Gen Z. So they, of course, require all of these things. And why would YouTube want them to pay other people outside of YouTube itself when they can just get it for free on YouTube? So, of course, YouTube has great strategists in their team as well. So they just partnered up with someone huge, and right now they're running the thing on their own.
If you knew about this feature coming, so for example, if this came in November, if you knew 6 months before, say in May 2024, you knew it's coming in 6 months. So your steps would have been same, or would you have done anything different?
Uh, if if I got to know this when I had started this dubbing business, then I would contemplate over like starting this in the first place itself. But once I got to know midway, I don't think there was any other step that I would have taken. I was pretty quick in making my moves in terms of shifting from okay, let's continue to grow this business, from okay, let's just survive as long as we can, and look for something which is which people are doing new. And one of the main challenges which I forgot to mention was that I was doing something completely new in the space. For example, anyone of our age or of our time, they were focusing on marketing agencies, video editing agencies, any clothing brand as such. But I chose something which was completely out of track. So figuring that out itself was very difficult. People say you should do something which is already proven. Right now, I believe that okay, they are right about those things, because if that works for someone, if you work hard with it and if you work smartly with it, you can also achieve the same thing. But if you go for something new, if you go for a strategy, a creation of a new genre, that you'll have to put in a lot more effort and a lot of chances of messing up.
But in this scenario, you like saw a proven model over there, so you went for it. But unfortunately,
Yes, I don't think this was a proven model, because even I didn't know what businesses were doing. Along the way, I figured out which businesses are doing, how are they doing it. Initially, when I started, I'm like, oh, I might be the first person doing this, right? So I'm like, oh, I'm creating a new genre itself. But
lot less information on the internet now.
Yeah, there was no-
For example, if you search how to do a marketing agency, you will get a lot of
You'll get a lot
information.
of it.
yes,
In
exactly.
his case, it wasn't there, I think.
If you go on YouTube and search how to start a dubbing agency, you'll just get freelancers talking about how to dub and how to do things. No one will talk about how to start a dubbing agency. So that was one of the challenges that I would say was there.
When did you pivot to the trading segment or whatever, like
Forex trading.
forex
Forex
trading?
trading.
Yeah.
So I used to trade in the markets since before I started any of these businesses. So after 12th grade, I was in that area where I was partying. I was, going out a lot, just enjoying as anyone would have done at that time. But at the same time, I thought that, a lot of my friends are going to their universities abroad and I am still in India. So why not make some good use of it? And over there, it's very different for people. Over here, it's very different for people. And since a lot of my friends were also going there, I'm like, let me just focus on something that's new. So I started with trading, and I shifted to the marketing agency. Then I shifted to this. But when I was doing trading, I honestly felt that this financial aspect of it really hits me somewhere, and I enjoy doing it. I always thought that yes, I have this backup. This trading is my backup. So initially, when I started, I didn't have the work ethic, I would say, but I still used to try and make money. Initially, I lost a lot of money, and once I did these two businesses, I gained a lot of work ethic, and I'm like, okay, why not make this backup my priority? And of course, it's not like I have to handle any team, but at least I know how to make plans. I know how to follow those plans. I know the work ethic which is required, and if I actually put a lot of work in it, then I can get to some stage which offers me success in this field. So this is how I pivoted initially. Once the business got over, I started researching more about trading, and trading is something which reflects with your life a lot. So any disciplines you follow in your life, for example, going to the gym, or just being patient in general, so that all reflects in trading as well, because 99% of the traders fail, but 1% who are actually making a lot of money in the space.
So now you would say you're profitable now.
Yes, after a lot of time and lost money, I would say that I have moved to something that's profitable. But that came through finding out what kind of a trader I am, because everyone thinks that you can just get into the markets and put some money and expect some money, but it is not about money at all. Right? You just overall have to look at what kind of a trader you are, because there are different paths which come to trading. There's swing trading, there's intraday, there's long term holding, and I was just figuring out what suits me the most. Now, because my personality goes with something which is very quick, and I like to, move fast, I thought that day trading was something that really enticed me. So I started researching more about it. I started investing in a lot of courses, I would say. I wasted a lot of money as well. For example, one person I paid, who was a mentor, was 25,000 rupees, and he was just teaching me how to make lines on the chart. So I'm like, this is, I already know this. And once he started making those lines, I thought, okay, fine, even I'll make those lines. I started making those lines, and eventually I started with Bitcoin, because that was most easy. I used to go on Binance app. I used to put in some money to make those lines and put some trade. After I got through some losses, I lost all the money. I'm like, these lines are not going to help me. So I'm like, let me actually figure out something that will help me a lot. So then I started with SMC first, which is Smart Money Concepts. Then I went to ICT, which is Inner Circle Trading. And there is a person called the Inner Circle Trader on YouTube, which has literally free videos. He has been giving out information since 2014-15. Until date, he's giving out. And he's given out a lot of strategies. And even if you use one of those strategies, it's like, and make it your own, you can get somewhere in trading. So I went through a lot of content, 1,000 hours of content, I would say. And then but the main thing was not just watching the content, actually implementing it. Because I was only watching the content. I'm like, okay, I'll get somewhere. When I actually went onto the markets, again, I failed. Yeah, I'm like, difficult to implement. Like, watching is not going to help me. Like, till date, watching does not help me. So after that, I shifted to actually implementing it. And then again, I was just making losses. And the main thing was that I'm still in a college, and I also want to trade the markets. If I try to trade in the Indian markets, which is from 9:30 to 3:30, I'm mostly in college at that time till 1, 2 o'clock. So I'm not being able to focus much on it. So I'm like, which markets would help me? Then I thought about the Forex markets, Now, Forex markets operate in two sessions, which is the London session and the New York session. So, London sessions happen from 2 to 5 a.m. New York time, which is around 11 to 2 p.m., 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. over here. And New York session goes on from 4 to 7 p.m. in India. So, I'm like, yes, 4 to 7 p.m. is something that could work for me, and I could trade in these markets. So then I started trading in the Forex markets. And again, I was just losing money because I was focusing on too many things. Like I said, trading and real life is very similar. In trading, there are many strategies. In real life, you have many options to do. For example, okay, I want to become a doctor, I want to become a businessman, but you have to stick to one and continuously do that to actually become something. In trading, it's the same thing. You have to stick to one strategy, you have to stick to one setup, you have to stick to one time. For example, if you want to become a short-term trader, which is a day trader, then you have to stick to particular time of days which you have to operate in, and then you have to continuously work. You keep on back testing, do it 1,000 times, and in the real markets then you'll actually see some results. So that's how eventually things got. Till I would say till last month, I was still making losses, not major losses, but I was break even in some ways. And it was all psychological, following rules. You need to have certain rules in trading which reflect your real life as well. Rules such as not being egoistic, being a patient trader, because trading is all about observing rather than trying to just get into the markets. If I give someone access to the markets, since the market offers money all the time, people are like, bro, we'll go into the markets anytime and we'll try to make money. But that's not how it works. You have to be continuously patient, you have to observe, and you have to strike when the proper opportunity is there, which a lot of traders fail to realize. Even till date, sometimes even I fail to realize that. And that's something I'm continuously working and trying to get over. So this month or this 2 months, I started trading not only in the Forex markets but also in uh, USA futures markets, which is basically Nasdaq and S&P 500. And because I shifted to that, because a lot of people who I learned from in the space, they trade in those markets. So before, when I was individually doing the Forex markets, I was not able to relate to anyone. Am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the wrong thing? Right. So once I moved to these markets, I followed people who are using the same strategies as I am, and I can actually see their trades, learn from their trades, see if I'm taking the same trades. So I started learning from them, and then when I used to work in the markets, I saw that okay, a lot of my trades were similar to theirs. So that helped me a lot, and right now I'm just trading in those markets continuously.
So, when does the like what are the timings for the US market?
So now the they are divided into sessions. So there's an Asian session, there's a London session, and there's New York session. But the forex markets operate 24 into 5. So the reason people trade in these specific sessions is because of volume. Now, between London open to London close and New York open to New York close, there's a time frame where both of these markets are on at the same time. So the bulk of the volume is in that time zone. For example, when it comes to, I'm going to talk in terms of New York time right now. So New York time is currently 2.5 hours ahead of, like, behind us, I think. So if it's like 2 o'clock over here, it's 4:30 over there, and that is daylight savings time. So right now, when it turns, let's say 8:30, the news which comes out in the forex markets, and 9:30 the equity market starts in those markets. So the volumes are as such that any setup you take, they will basically follow your footprints and eventually give you a profit or a loss. Otherwise, you have to wait a lot because the volatility is not there at that particular time. So it goes from 2 to 5 a.m., which is the London session, and then 7 to 10 a.m. is the Forex New York session. But if you're trading in futures, which is Nasdaq or S&P, you have to basically trade between 9:30 to 4:30. And in that as well, there are basically specific time periods. For example, 9:30 to 10:30 there's one period. After that there's a lunch hour or so where the volume reduces, and then again at 1:30 to between 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. New York time, the volume rises again, so you can trade in that particular period of time.
think that's much better than crypto, because crypto you don't know when to work, when to do what.
Crypto has the same timings. I would say it's everything works according to the US markets, right? So crypto also is the same thing, but crypto is that there's no governing authority there. So there's a lot of manipulation in those markets. For example, if Trump makes a news, the market will go up and down. Recently, Trump, involved Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Solana into the crypto holdings of the US stock, US Treasury. So that's why there was a huge rise in the markets on a Saturday evening, and no one was expecting that. So anyone who bought the market at that time basically made a lot of money. So otherwise, the crypto market works according to the same timings as the market I just told you, but there's a lot of manipulation. But in these markets, the Forex markets and the Nasdaq futures, it's very governed. So there's no manipulation as such. So it's like if you're trading with the right strategies, they will, of course, turn around in a way that either they're giving you proper profits, or they're giving you losses which are acceptable because maybe you messed up in your analysis, not because the markets are being manipulated.
And everyone is randomly rug pulling also. And crypto, Trump himself is rug pulling. He made his coin and then rug pulled.
Yeah.
Even Elon Musk tweets anything and it shoots up. All these crypto Dogecoins, this, that, etc. Any meme coins, you put some money in it and it just blasts.
I think only Bitcoin is a bit stable.
Bitcoin is a bit stable. Most of the coins move with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is rising, any other coin will rise as well.
Recently, Bitcoin is also fluctuating a lot now.
Bitcoin is right now because of all the news. Trump is kind of messing up the economy initially to, in the long run, basically have a lot of benefit to the US markets and all.
There are a lot of people who are anticipating that Bitcoin will go up because Trump is here.
Yeah.
But then it's just anything is happening. No one can predict what's really going on.
You can't predict what Trump wants to do.
Bro, I think it's basically gambling.
Yeah, it's very close to gambling. Bitcoin is very close to gambling.
If you don't know what you're doing, then it is, but it's not completely gambling as well.
In crypto, you think you know what you're doing, but then it turns out you don't know what you're doing.
Because of some news popping up.
Yeah.
But those news have specific times to it.
Yeah.
Right. So if you anticipate, for example, it usually comes out that Trump is speaking at this time. If you go on a website called forexfactory.com, over there you can basically see when Trump is going to speak. He speaks at 10 a.m. New York time sometimes. He speaks at 2 p.m. New York time sometimes. That's the only time he's speaking. So if you already see those news coming in place, you know that, okay, I will stay away from the markets during at that time, because the volatility as such, any trade I take can hit stop loss, any trade I take can also take profit. But you don't want to be a part of that market in that particular time zone. That's a gambling process. So you should not be trading during such high impact news. After 1 hour, it's fine.
What are your favorite pairs of trading in Forex?
So I, in my rules, basically trade Euro USD and GBP USD in the London session, and then at night I shift to Nasdaq and S&P 500. So all these they are currency pairs. So these two are related to each other. They move in the same way. If you ever go onto the chart, you can see them moving in the same way. And E-mini futures, Nasdaq and S&P, they move in the same way. So basically, traders observe both of those markets. Any one is also fine, but I divide it into London session and New York session, because it helps me work out with my other things that I'm doing in life, college or any, just going out socializing. So during those times, I shift according to the London session and New York session.
So, what is your aim daily? Like, how many trades do you would you say is enough?
Now it's
Today I am done with today.
Today I'm done. It really depends. It's all according to the rules of a trader. If a trader does not have rules, and if a person does not have rules in real life, I'm sure that they're doing something wrong. So in trading, my rules tell me that one profitable trade is me being done for the entire day. But that profitable trade can also come in the London session where I trade the currency pairs, or it can come in the New York session where I trade the futures. But one good trade and I should be out, because in these markets you can lose more than you can win if your risk management, money management is good. So like people say, if your profitability ratio is 1:2, and even if you lose 6 trades out of 10, in those 4 trades you can make more money than you're losing in those 6 trades itself, if your risk to reward ratio is 1:2. So one good trade and I should be done for the day. But it all depends on the amount of capital you have. Now, people usually confuse the capital amounts. For example, in India, if you say that, okay, I'll give you 1 lakh rupees, now is that enough for you? They'll be like more than happy to trade with that amount. When I initially started, I thought 1 lakh is more than enough for me to make, I'll make 2,000 rupees a day, I'm happy. But it did not work out like that. So there were prop firms which basically are in this industry which provide you the funds to trade money, to trade in these markets. So prop firms are like, for example, a big business providing you the funds to basically trade in the markets, but you have to pass their challenges, their evaluations to basically get that money and trade. Now, millions of people fail them because they're not good traders, they're not good money managers. But those who actually pass them and they know how to crack the system, they actually make a lot of money out of them. So, for example, Funding Tips is the prop firm which I use right now, and I am currently trading with their $25,000 accounts. So I keep on stacking those accounts, I keep on passing the evaluations, and I get payouts according to how much money I am making. So 1 to 2% as well on the 25K account is more than enough for me because they give weekly payouts. So 1 to 2% out of that $25,000 is like $2,500 per week, I would say, right? So now it depends. I only risk 0.25% each trade. Now that 1 to 2%, I can, if the trades are going well, if the markets are offering those conditions, they can be made in 1 week itself, or they can also be made in 1 month. So it depends on how good of a trader you are and how psychologically stable you are in your real life to actually make that kind of money in the markets. Because you can also lose everything.
So what if you lose in those funded accounts?
So you can blow the funded accounts because you can always buy the funded accounts again. Now, there are a lot of traders who have 10 to 15 funded accounts with them, which are already passed evaluations. Sometimes they blow those accounts, but at the same time, they have all the other backup accounts which they can trade in. But if you blow those accounts, again, you have to go through the process of passing the evaluations and then, getting to a state where you're a funded trader and then working to a level where you have to basically get the payout by making a certain percentage. So there are a lot of other prop firms as well which have different evaluation systems. But if you blow those accounts, basically, I wouldn't say you're the best of the trader, but that's how the system works. You can basically crack and manipulate these prop firms if you know the game properly.
What are some of the biggest like wins and losses that you remember?
So in one trade, I've lost more than $750 as well. Of course, not my own money; it's the prop firm's money. But once I've passed the evaluation, that's actually real money. On the chart, those are just numbers. But in real life, if I put $750 in front of you, which in INR is 60,000 rupees, that's enough. But that's how much I risk per trade as well. So around $25,000, 750 is like 3%. I would say normally my risk is $250, which is 1% of the account, or it is $125, which is 0.5%. But once I was in a very good winning streak and my ego was very high, and if I could not control my ego at that point, I'm like, okay, fine, let me just risk 3%. My winning streak is nice, I'm doing pretty well. Let's just see how much, let's see if I actually win this trade. And that trade, in fact, I actually lost. So I lost $750 in a row, but I was still profitable for the week. So it did not matter. But at the same time, I had to put my ego down. That fine, bro, you're making money. That's good. Leave the markets for the week. You've made enough money, get the payout, and come back again and trade next week. Maintain that discipline. Trading and real life has a lot of things. If you stay on the charts, you'll become mad. You cannot stay on the charts for like 7 to 8 hours, right? You have to give it 1 to 2 hours. That's more than enough. And divide it into sessions. For example, you trade the market in those 1 to 2 hours. You backtest. You learn about trading. So, for example, in my rules, I will watch videos every day, at least worth of 30 to 40 minutes, and I will basically backtest for 1 hour every day, and I will trade in the markets in the time zones which I just told you about, the New York session and the London session. Apart from that, to basically be more disciplined in the markets, I will work out and I will make sure that I'm eating right, and I will make sure that I have a social life outside of this market, because if it consumes you, you're dead.
Yeah, if you get too invested in it, then you don't have anything else. So that's what's gonna be like take your whole attention, and then you will just keep making losses because you'll get saturated.
So what does your daily schedule look like?
So first thing is going to the college now.
Yeah.
College can be any time from 8 to 9 to 10. It starts at different times, different days of the week. So once I get to college, like I said, the London session starts at about 11 a.m. IST. So I just start trading in my college as as it goes, and I use the college Wi-Fi, which is supposed to be used from the VPN because they have blockers, they have jammers, and I just connect a VPN to the college Wi-Fi, and then I start trading in college itself, the London session. Now I avoid trading in a London session because the setups aren't the most like most uh, quality like. So but if I find any good setup, then I'm sure that I'll take the trade. And the main problem is, of course, when I'm switching between classes, so the network goes up and down. So for example, sometimes there have been cases where I'm in between a trade, and my trade usually I'll enter and exit in 15 to 20 minutes. I don't need to wait for like hours. So if I'm switching between classes, so that network goes away, and when I enter that class, either I get to know, okay, the market has gone towards my take profit, or I actually have lost the money in that particular trade, or it's still going on. But I just always get to know after I've entered the other class. Sometimes when I'm in the class, then it's perfect, because the thing is, the trading session that starts at 2 a.m. over in IST, it's at 11:30. So it's not even 11:45, 11:50. It's in between the middle of the class, right, middle of the lecture. So of course there is some shifting that I have to do, and sometimes I get the trade after the. There are certain things called macros in trading, which is the last 10 minutes of an hour and the first 10 minutes of an hour. So you combine that. That's a 20-minute time zone that the markets move a lot, because the hourly candle opens in that and an hourly candle closes, plus a 15-minute candle open in that and a 15-minute candle closes. So the volume is a lot much higher in that basic time zone. So there's always a switch which I have to do in between classes, which breaks my momentum, and then I get to know, should I'm actually in a loss, or I'm actually in a profit, or it's just going how it's supposed to go. So that happens, and eventually the college ends. Now I have 3 to 4 hours between London session and the New York session. So in that time frame, I basically head to the gym as soon as possible. Sometimes I directly go to the gym from my college, and once I finish the gym, which is between 1 hour or 1 to 2 hours, I try to finish it as early as possible. I then head back home, eat something, have a quick shower, and then I have to sit at 7 p.m. IST for the New York 9:30 E-mini futures opening. So then I sit for the markets. Now the main moves come during the first 1 hour, 1.5 hours of the AM session, which is the New York AM session. And if you don't get any trades in that, or let's say if you take a loss, then basically I wait till 11 p.m. to come in the PM session of the market and trade, because the volume is again high at that time. So my day usually goes like this. And on a weekend, it's of course a little bit different. For example, if it's a Friday night, I will try to finish it as early as possible. So in the London session, I'll take the trade. Then I'll tell myself, okay, I'm not going to trade for the entire day, because then I go meet my friends or just socialize with other people. I mean, if you're living in Bombay, then of course, and if you're earning money, you cannot just keep on earning. You have to actually go and spend on the people you care about. So I just, on a weekend, that's what I do. But on a Saturday or Sunday, it's completely different. College is there on Saturday, I would say, but otherwise I'm going to the gym, and I'm basically then meeting my friends, or I'm just back testing on a weekend. And on Sundays, I usually give it an off day in terms of everything. But again, I try to put some good disciplines like reading a book, which again, it's very difficult for me. Till date, I have not finished one book, I would say. I start a book, I finish half of it, then I end it. But again, that's not nice, because that patience is something which is not being disciplined, which is not being built by me to just finish a book. But I'm trying right now in between.
Yeah, I think that happens with me also. In the last 1 year or so, I've only finished one book. The rest, I think half a quarter I've read.
Yeah. That's one thing where if I'm not studious in my college and everything.
I think with YouTube and all, there are like more entertaining sources of information. Basically, podcasts.
Podcast, yeah. Like right now, like you all can also listen. No need to read books.
Listen, 1.5 hours of conversation, you all should listen. But yeah, it's very important to actually read books, especially if you're doing something like this, because it helps you build that patience which you require in trading.
Yeah.
Because you have to wait for the right time. because my mentor says that trading is about time first and then price. So I work according to the price action. But if the time is not right, then your price action also won't properly play out. So you're just taking the right trades but losing the same amount of money. So of course, patience is important, discipline is important in trading. So that's my schedule, I would say.
Okay, so let's say I'm a college student. I have 10,000 rupees in my bank account. So like, how should I start my forex journey?
Should we trade forex or should you invest long term in the stock market or something?
So if you have 10,000 rupees, I would say that save more. Firstly, because 10,000 rupees in the Indian markets, in the Forex markets, is not going to make a difference. Of course, when you're using prop firm challenges come for 2 to 3,000 rupees. But again, you'll just waste that money in those challenges if you don't know what you're doing. As a beginner trader, you're going to just go into the markets expecting some return and it's just going to fail. I've done that. I've been there. I've lost a lot of money. Eventually, um, I made sure that I had enough practice, that I spent first 3,000 rupees on a funding pips evaluation, which gives you a $5,000 account. I basically went traded on that. Luckily, like I passed my first funded challenge, because before that I used to trade with my own money, and I realized after losing it that why am I using my own money to trade in a market? Why shouldn't I, use these prop firms, buy their challenges, and eventually, trade with a much higher capital? So I didn't have access to funds when I initially started trading. I had less than 20-30,000. That also I lost. So after that, once I got to know all this information, which is very important to gain in this field and in any field, I bought the account and then I passed it within a few days. And then I had the capital of $5,000 to trade with. And once I actually got a payout from that, I actually realized that this is true and this works. And so I started scaling that same thing. But of course, I've definitely fallen in that same journey as well. It's because my ego got too high at some point. I was impatient. So it's very important to build those characteristics eventually to come to a level where you consistently make a lot of profit from the markets. So that's like how it goes about.
So like, can you guide us through like how does the funding account works and what is the evaluation process, and how do you get into, like, how do you find it about, like, how do you find about it?
So I used to get a lot of ads about it on Instagram, because you know how Instagram works. Anything you talk about, anything you search
Yeah.
up, it comes up.
I think we'll get ads now.
Exactly, right now as well, because we're talking about it, I'm pretty sure you'll get it on your feed. But I used to get a lot of feed, and even when I was doing the dubbing business, since I always used to have that in the back of my head and I used to speak about it with my friends, I used to get the ads. So somewhere I was always knowledgeable about the fact that yes, a funding account platform exists, and I can always go to this, but I never really took this step. So once this business got over, once my work ethic came to a level that okay, I know that I can go back to the market, start working again, I actually took the step of actually buying a funded account, and then I started trading on that funding account. So there are phases which you have to pass in the funding account. For example, if there's a $5,000 account, you can get that account for $29, and which is basically 2,400 rupees. Once you've bought the account, that there are two phase accounts, there are one phase accounts, and there are no evaluation phase accounts. So in no evaluation, you directly get the master account, which is the money account. But that's very difficult to crack because there are a lot of rules in place. With the one phase account, you need to make around 8% or 6%, and once you pass that within a particular time frame, they give you the access to the funding account. And with the two step, first you have to gain 8%, and then you have to gain 5%. Or if you're taking a two-step pro account, which means you have to make 6% and 6%. But the price of that, differs, because on their platform they have different, different challenges which you can buy. And eventually, once you pass those accounts, you get the access to the master account, which when you actually trade, you can earn money from. So this is how the evaluation and everything goes about.
Do they take a cut from your trades or how does it work?
So they have a split. Basically, if you're trading with them for the first time, or any other prop firm as well, their splits can start from 80% to 90% to 100%. So for example, once I have passed my evaluation phases, they give me an option to get weekly payouts, bi-weekly payouts, or monthly payouts. Monthly payouts are 100% yours, weekly payouts are 80% yours, and no, weekly payouts are 60% yours, and bi-weekly is 80%. But that is just with funding pips. There are all the other prop firms which exist as well. For example, Mind Funded Futures and Apex Trading, which offer you around 90 to 95% of the revenue share. So you get that 95% and they just earn 5% from that account. So that's how the split works between the prop firms and a trader.
Does trading feel like running a business, or is it completely different?
Trading definitely feels like running a business, I would say. Like I said, after I gained the work ethic from the business, I actually got to know, okay, I will come here and put in the effort to actually become a good trader. Now, when it comes to becoming a good trader, you need to have systems in place, you need to have rules in place, and the only person you can blame in trading is yourself. When you're doing a business, you have maybe partners, you have maybe employees, and maybe you can blame other people for your success. But over here, you can only blame yourself. That is one of the main reasons I came to this. If I do not succeed, I know who to blame. If I try to be lazy, I know who to blame. If I actually become successful, I know who to actually give the credits to. So yes, it is like doing a business, because you have to track everything. You have to track your ratios, you have to track your output. Otherwise, you just keep on blindly trading. You won't get to know how much money you're making. When you're trading with a less capital, yes, if you don't keep a track of things, you can still earn money, but not much money. But when you start trading with a higher amount of capital, as you keep on progressing, you need to understand how much money you're making in a day, how much percentage you're making. It's not about money, to be honest. It's about percentage. The same trades I take with a $5,000 account, I can take with a $25,000 account, I can take with a $200,000 account. But I need to make sure that those trades which I take are very high probability, because once you start risking the higher amount, your psychological factors make you mess up the trade you're taking, your entries, your exits, how you're managing the trade. It all affects each and every part of it. So
Yeah, so you start thinking more about the money which is at stake rather than the swing which you're taking.
yeah, and once you do that, honestly, you just lose yourself in the process. And the main thing is the process. So if you don't stick to the process, then you're completely out. Some days you should not trade. People go into the market expecting that, okay, I am going to trade every day. But that's not how it's supposed to be. If one day I know that, okay, I have breached my rules, then I will not trade for the day, because I have to build that discipline to tell myself, okay, you messed up over here. You told yourself that you're not going to trade, and your rules say that. So get out of the markets, go and do something else. Play some sport, go to meet someone, go to the gym, do whatever you want. Just don't get back to the markets, because you have to treat yourself in a way that this is a business, and I have to completely follow the rules of the business of my system. If I don't, it's not going to reward me anymore.
Yeah, because it's very easy to fall into greed.
Exactly. Greed is one of the biggest things. I still suffer from greed, I would say, in a lot of ways. And I'm still balancing how to overcome that. And then again, there's impatience, patience, and a lot of other factors which comes up to your real life and your trading life coming together. So having a balance in both, and having the same amount of discipline in both, and work ethic and everything, involves you being successful in both manners.
I think your real life habits and discipline reflects in business and the market also, I think.
Completely. So you have to continuously do that. Like I was speaking about reading a book, so that build patience. Going to the gym, build consistency. You cannot just make a body in a day. You cannot be profitable in a day, right? So that's how it completely is.
So, what other industries other than marketing, dubbing, and trading? What other industries do you think are lucrative and should be pursued?
Basically, opportunities, right?
Yeah.
You see opportunities in.
I think in today's day and time, the YouTube, Instagram content is one thing that is huge, because that market is completely rising to another level. And of course, making your own business, even being an influencer, is like having a business of your own, because you're managing yourself initially, and then you have other people managing you when you get to a level. So going ahead as well, I just don't plan to just trade every day. My main focus will be to make content as well, help other people become profitable, help other people get the knowledge of prop firms in India, and as well as how you can not just be in college but at the same time trade as well at night, because a lot of people think that okay, if I'm going to college, then how am I supposed to trade? But they just don't have enough information that okay, there are other markets as well where you can trade and there are other people's money which you can use. And a lot of people do make content about it in India and in the US, but I would just be another one. So of course, what would differentiate me would be my personality. If it comes out well on the screen, then good enough for the audience. If it does not, then hard luck. I can just continue trading.
It's still not reaching the general masses. Basically, the other content, the existing content creators are not doing something right. Like if you can get this information to, all the college students in India, maybe you can create your differentiation there.
Because they lack a lot of information, and just giving them that information would definitely make sure that okay, they can take steps. But again, I think the ideologies with college is just to study and just to enjoy a lot of it. And a lot of teenagers have this like mindset. Now it's completely fine if I was also only studying, and if I knew that I had a future in studying, like if I'm doing engineering, if I know I want to become an engineer, it's completely fine. You study, you do what you want. But if you actually know that okay, this I'm just doing it because of my family, or I'm just doing it because of just influence, I would actually try to find something that actually makes sense to me and helps me get to a future which I want for myself.
I've seen a lot of creators showing that they took a trade right now, and then they are roaming around, they are going abroad. So do you think that get rich quick thing really works in trading?
It depends. All these traders, I would say, have put in a lot of hard work as well. So right now, when I'm watching content, I know that if I am a random person just trying to start trading, or I look at their lifestyle and I feel that, oh yes, I want to go and take that course, because even they're trying to make money. Like I said, trading is not the only source of income for them. They make courses, they sell those courses, and then it becomes a whole business for them. So that's what they're trying to do. They try to create flashy lives, but at the same time, you should give them the credit because they initially did work hard for it, and they went through all these struggles. They lost a lot of money. They disciplined themselves, at least the ones who are actually legit. And even after that, if they are trying to make a course, sell it to people, teach people how to do that by flashing, that's not a problem at all.
Just selling it then.
Yeah, they just want to sell their course, and if they're actually a good trader, they'll actually teach you properly how to do well for yourself as well. So yes, I think there is a get rich quick scheme and everything, but once you actually get into the depths of that, once you actually gain a lot of information, like the entire journey which I told about, losing money, trying to do it, watching thousands of videos, going into the markets, implementing it, then you get to know that it's not really a get rich quick.
Yeah, it will take time.
Putting as much as time as possible that you can, and then eventually after 1 to 2 years, trading is a thing that okay, you can get it in 1 to 2 years. This is my second year, I would say, but it's been 5 months since I'm doing it properly, right? So in the 5th month, I would say that okay, I'm getting to a good level right now. But if you think that okay, I just start out of the out of the ocean, it's not going to just work like that. You have
Just
to give
by
it some
seeing
time.
them and doing what they do, it won't work.
Yeah, completely agreed.
What other industries do you think is under threat from AI? Like if you can see in content creation also, a lot of AI influencers are also coming now.
Yeah, I mean, they're always trying to make money off the Instagram that algorithm at this point. So I mean, dubbing it's completely it'll eventually go away. Of course, there'll be there'll be businesses which will survive with dubbing. So of course you have to better yourself. There'll be freelancers who will survive
I
with
think the
auto
bigger
dubbing.
players might survive because
Yes.
of the money and name they have.
No, of course, because of course there'll be a difference between manually doing something and having AI do it, and people will survive eventually. You live in a world where they're actually humans, so AI, there's always a threat, but at the same time, they have to coexist with each other. So dubbing is gone. I think eventually any engineering related stuff is also something, computer science and everything, where AI is taking over. Marketing also, there have been phases that okay, you see AI marketing
I
happening.
think, but marketing cannot be taken over because it's a very human psychology thing. So AI is not
I
there
think
yet.
some parts can be automated.
Yeah, automation will come everywhere, but
yeah.
the core reason why marketing is done is human psychology.
The human factor will still exist.
Yeah, marketing cannot be taken over. I think
Finance.
finance can.
I think coexist. They all can coexist together.
Finance can be easily taken over. Bookkeeping, accountancy, everything.
Yeah,
AI will-
accountancy,
That so
bookkeeping, and
easily,
everything
yeah.
easily.
Yeah, as a business owner, if I can get accounting done in a couple of minutes using AI, then I would opt for that, obviously.
Also, there are now AI trading bots also.
Yes, I mean those bots work. Like people are doing research about. They just take a screenshot of a chart and they put it on Chat GPT,
Yeah.
and some people actually get the results from the Chat GPT trades they take. So I mean, you never know if you have enough money, you can just go around and try it.
Yeah.
But the AI bots, the algorithms, I would say that work. People, it's called algo trading.
Yeah.
So people create those algo trading. Like one of my friends in college, he has created algorithms. He has trained the algorithms. Now those algorithms gives him the data of getting into the trade and getting out of the trade after the uh, after the processing he's done. What's it called? Coding.
Coding.
Yeah, coding he's done. So it's working for him. See, the thing is, if you know how to make money from the market, if you know how to make money in any way, as long as you know how to do it, no one cares. I mean, you're making money, that's good enough. Like, and you can do it in any way, whether it's trading, whether it's real life. In trading, there are multiple strategies. You can do color trading and make money. You can just press a button saying up and down, you can make money. But if you actually do it consistently, no matter what anyone says, you're actually just doing what you want, and you can continuously do that.
So let's conclude with the last question. If you had to go back, what advice would you give to your past self?
Like before starting business or trading or anything.
Yeah, before anything, before even the first time you started trading.
Now, the advice that I would give is definitely that you are going to make a lot of mistakes in the process,
Yeah.
and there will be a lot of failures that you will have to take. So, firstly, be prepared for that, and secondly, try to gain as much as information as possible before you start anything. And it's always profitable to do something which has already been done, but of course you have to do your research onto how to go into it. And smart work combined with hard work always results in good consistent results. Plus, at the same time, don't be egoistic. Learn better habits which make you more patient, and at the same time make more friends in real life, I would say, because you can earn as much as money as possible, but if you don't have people to spend it on, then what's the point of making
And
so much
after a
money?
point, if you only keep working, I think then the productivity goes down. If you're not socializing, then
Socializing is completely important. People say work life balance, but at the end of the day, it's okay if you don't have a balance, but you should have something which you have going on other than just work.
Yeah.
So I think that's the thing I would tell to my past self.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, one thing we didn't ask. What's your opinion on Backspace?
Yeah.
Backspace. I mean, the second I saw the Backspace t-shirt, I think I was one of the first
Oh,
customers.
Yeah.
So I mean, and one thing I would say is that continuously going on with a brand for 3 to 4 years is it takes efforts. So I mean, seeing you all continuously do it for so long, I'm just happy. Regardless of how the results are, regardless of where the stage y'all are at, just seeing my childhood friends do this and be on it since a while, it just makes me happy, and I know that eventually y'all will learn, and y'all are always learning like I have been, and up and down keeps on going on. But as long as you stick with it, it's going to work out. And I too have been seeing y'all since a while, so I too love it.
Okay. That's it for this podcast. Thank you guys. Bye bye.